ladies and gentlemen, if they're not talking bad about you, trying to attack you, then you're not doing the right thing. Ladies and gentlemen, Gullible John and Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. have copyright claimed another one of my videos. And I'm here to tell you that it exposes the truth, the facts, and that's why they keep doing it. I got a little something for you, though. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into some of the straight game.
Life is like cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy Delray, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Also, subscribe to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get right into it. So I had to go live. I dropped a video earlier today. Basically, some factual information in regards to these plaques and things on the wall. You're going to have people try to come at you, try to create a narrative in regards to what they don't know, that they're really jealous. Jealousy is the real culprit, right? But I won't even focus on that. I'm going to focus on the less intelligent and deal with the facts. So ladies and gentlemen, Gullible John has just copyright claimed another one of my videos, y'all. Here it go right here. As you see right here, it said, hi, Straight Game TV. We received a copyright removal request for your video based on applicable copyright laws. We remove your video from YouTube. The video is Reggie the Rat Wright Jr.'s professional Tupac liar, a role in his death and inconsistent testimony. The URL, the content that they say I use, Reggie the Wright, the truth about Tupac, Biggie confrontation at the Soul Train Music Awards in 1996. I used approximately, under the copyright law, approximately 29 seconds, which is a fair use under the copyright law and the copyright in regards to YouTube. But it gets a little bit deeper than that. I want you to understand something. You see this video, you see the title that they say that I use, content use, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., the truth about Tupac and Biggie confrontation, the Soul Train Music Awards in 1996. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my bad. So let me tell you this. When you understand what the video, because like I said, a lot of people who've been listening over the years, they've been listening to Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. and Gullible John try to create this narrative. And the video that Gullible John is trying to take down, he will not be successful. I promise you that. The video that Gullible John is trying to take down is a video that basically proves that that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. lied to the Keefe D grand jury, ladies and gentlemen. This is why they want the video taken down, and I'm going to break it down. Like I said, you have to look at the title, because everything basically reveals itself. Like I said, if you look at the title, the content that they said used, the 29 seconds that I use of the video, you basically see it says Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., the truth about Tupac, Biggie confrontation at the Soul Train Awards in 1996, y'all. See that? Okay. So that video in particular is a video of Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. basically saying that he lied on Tupac, number one, as he's done so many times before. But this lie was a lie that was so egregious I was like, wow, what? And then the lie revealed itself because C. Gutter, Biggie's homeboy, went on Vlad to clarify the fact that Keefy D never pulled the gun. And C. Gutter basically said it was him that pulled the gun. But let me clarify that for you. So in the video, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is basically talking about how Keefy D allegedly pulled the gun on Tupac, or was about to pull a gun on Tupac at the 96 Soul Train Music Awards. Let's be clear. That same night, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. had admitted that he called the police. Listen, y'all. Y'all got to listen to what I'm going to tell you. He called the police on Suge Knight and Suge Knight's homeboys to warn the people at the Soul Train Music Awards that they were about to come to the award show. Did you hear what I said? Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., at the time that he claims that this story happened, admitted that that night he had called the police and told them that Suge Knight and his homeboys were going to be coming to the Soul Train Music Awards, ladies and gentlemen, and to watch out. This is the same guy that was working for Death Row as the head of security, y'all. So he's at the same time, he's working behind his own boss's back, sabotaging situations that, once again, he claims to be saving someone from, ladies and gentlemen. But when it came to save Suge Knight and Tupac in Vegas, he was nowhere to be found. That's another story. So Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. says that they pull up to the Soul Train Music Awards, and somehow Pac run up to Biggie. They confront each other and blah, blah, blah. They having words. And he said that Keefy D was with Biggie and them, right? And he says that Keefy D allegedly pulled out a gun or brandished a weapon or something like that, and that he pulled out his gun and was talking about don't raise that gun, don't raise that gun, or whatever have you, right? And then he said that Tupac was yelling to Reggie. Tupac told him, Reggie alleged that Tupac told him, shoot him, Reg, because Keefy D started to run away. Ladies and gentlemen, the whole story, other than them being at the Soul Train Music Awards, was a lie. But this is where it gets tricky for Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. and why they wanted to take the video down so bad. The video reveals, right, that in 2023, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. went into the grand jury and he told that story. He told the story to the grand jury in regards to Keefy D allegedly pulling a gun. Ladies and gentlemen. So the video that they trying to take down reveals that Reggie lied. Why? Because C. Gutter went over on Vlad, and C. Gutter told Vlad that no, he don't know if anybody else pulled a gun, but he was the one that pulled the gun, right? Reggie then soon after that went and apologized because also Gene Deal was there, and Gene Deal said, no, it was C. Gutter that pulled the gun, ladies and gentlemen. So you got two people, one who pulled the gun, said he pulled the gun, admitting that he pulled the gun. See, this is where the facts come in. C. Gutter is admitting on Vlad that, yeah, he pulled the gun, whatever. Like I said, Big was his man, and whatever was whatever at that time, right? And Gene Deal is also saying the same thing. These are two people, right, who understand the situation at the time. They were there. But I need you to understand something. So when they come out and they say that, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. then comes back out and says, oh, I got it wrong. It wasn't Keefy D. It was C. Gutter. I'm going to take Gene's word for it. And, C. Gutter, it was Biggie homeboy C. Gutter. Ladies and gentlemen, how in the hell does Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. come out and tell a fake story about Keefy D alleging to pull a gun? Now, like I said, Keefy D has did interviews implicating himself in the murder of Tupac and all of that. Keefy D didn't need Reggie to help him or not help him in any way, shape, or form. But how in the hell does Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. tell a fake story about an altercation, right, involving Keith VD and Tupac allegedly telling Reggie, as Keith VD's allegedly supposed to be running away, shoot him, Reg, shoot him, Reg. And Gullible John says on the video, is that what Tupac said? Is that what Tupac said? Yeah, that's what he said. It's a lie. Excuse me. But more importantly than that, what the story really, truly, honestly reveals is this. And you got to understand this. What it truly, honestly reveals is the fact that it never happened. Why? We know that it didn't happen because C got a cop to it. Gene Deal was there. Gene Deal said it wasn't Keith VD. It was C Gutter. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. then comes out and acts as if he made a mistake. No, that wasn't a mistake. He said that Tupac said shoot Keith VD because Keith VD allegedly brandished or was going to pull out a gun. It was a lie. And the fact that I did that video and Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. knows, because not only where I think I seen it on Choke No Joke channel, where Choke No Joke talked about that also, right? In regards to Reggie lying about that, I was like, oh, so I'm trying to look at, I'm like, you know, why would they want the video? So now we got this trial coming up. We in October, November, December, January, February. The trial will be here in no time. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. wants to be included in the trial, wants to be one of the people who wants to claim, like claim that he ran Death Row, wants to be the one who claims that he, in fact, helped solve the murder of Tupac Shakur, when the guy who is now at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Las Vegas, Keith VD, is saying that what? That Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., what did he say, man? Like I said, I like to bring you these facts. I mean, these old pesky old facts, man, they always keep coming and getting in the way. You know what I mean? They be getting in the way of people trying to, you know, make fraudulent and false moves. Let's look. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. rushed to the grand jury to lie to the grand jury and told the grand jury about the story in regards to Keith VD at the Soul Train Music Awards, when he knew well, in fact, that it did not happen because Gene Deal had told the truth and also C. Gutter had told the truth. Look, the accused killer went on to accuse Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., an ex-Compton police officer and former head of security at Death Row Records, of being the mastermind behind the murder, labeling him and his security company as mercenaries. I need you to focus on something for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I need you to focus on something. And I want you to understand how underhanded like certain people can be. Because here it is, and this is two different occasions. I'm going to give you two different occasions where this was happening. The one occasion was at the Soul Train Music Awards. And Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. did what? They were going to the Soul Train Music Awards. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. calls ahead to the police saying that Suge Knight and these bunch of guys coming, you know, to the awards. Now, I thought Reggie was supposed to be with them. As a matter of fact, he was with them. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. did not tell Suge Knight or anybody else that he called the police at that time. So he's riding with them, pretending to be security, had already made a call, right, to sabotage them, even, or at least the you know, Suge, whoever he had in his entourage. He made a call ahead of time to sabotage the entourage from actually going or getting in. And he's riding in the same car with these guys, man. Do you see how that's not far-fetched as to how he sabotaged Tupac's security, ladies and gentlemen? I need you to use these examples because they're parallel. They're going to the Soul Train Music Awards. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. calls the police ahead of time to let them know that Suge and some of his homeboys is coming to the, but not like he's coming, like they're coming and Reggie's going to be home somewhere. I'm just going to call you, let you know, this was going on. They coming over. Reggie is going to be with them. Basically sabotaging them being able to get into the award show. And then he tells this elaborate ass story about Keefy D allegedly flashing the gun, which was a total lie. How do we know? How do we know? It ain't about what I'm telling you, because C. Gutter went on Vlad and told him that it was him. He copped to it. Right? That was Big's man. Right? All right. Now, Gene Deal comes out because he was there and was like, no, it wasn't Keefy D. All I seen was C. Gutter. Reggie lied. But to make that lie even worse, this is why they went and took down this video, because the video actually exposes it. This video right here I made, it exposes that he lied, and he lied to the grand jury. This is egregious. This is not the first time that he lied, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand jury. May I add? But like I said, once again, most people are not really paying attention to the things that they're paying attention to. They shouldn't be when they should be listening. So when they tried to take down the video, this is the reason why. And let me tell you this. So earlier today, Gullible John puts up a video and he uses a snippet of me saying that I like the All Eyes on Me movie, right? Gullible John wants me to copyright claim the video that he used my snippet of my video in. Gullible John, I understand the copyright law, right? I understand what fair use is. I will never stoop to your level because you will never be on my level. You got to fundamentally thinking, spiritually, mentally, nothing, zero, right? We are not the same. We don't think the same. We don't move the same. None of those things. You're not a part of my culture. Point blank, period. So when I call you out for the lies that you tell and not to attack you in any kind of way, shape, or form just to be facetious about it or to be petty. That's not who I am. I'll deal with you effectively, right? Strategically, right? So let's deal with it like this. So they put the video out claiming something about, Henji coming on there talking about, oh yeah, he didn't have nothing to do with the Tupac song and blah, blah, blah. You see the plaques on the wall, right? And the royalty checks, they still coming. Once again, if you go look at the video that I put up earlier, I'll show you a copy of the contract that was signed when we got our shares of the song. How can one be lying when everybody received the same information, meaning the signature on those contracts? That means everybody knows what's going on. So when one went to talk to somebody, you can't replay a video and saying that the person that's telling you the truth is lying based on the fact that the person that you talked to that said somebody had nothing to do with it and all of that, name is actually on that contract. So how could I be a liar if the person that you talked to name is on the contract and they received the same information that I got, that I read to you on the video? Once again, this is what frauds do. They perpetrate frauds. You see what I'm saying? So when they tried to get Henji to come on to tell them something, he received the same information that I received. He knew the truth. And despite that, chose to tell a different story or a version thereof. And I don't hate him for that. Like I said, I hope that he got paid. I hope that they paid him for telling his story, but it wasn't the truth. You go look at the video that I dropped earlier and you will see the truth of the matter. And trying to say that I never knew Tupac, I never met Tupac. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the furthest thing from the truth. Once again, on the Art of Dialogue, Art of Dialogue did an interview with Melly Mel and Scorpio, right? And both of them confirmed, right? Going to the House of Blues in the whole 9 yards. And way before that, the Faith situation at the, what's the name? Before that, and like I said, I gave them some game. I gave the whole world some game that they never knew. Not just the Faith thing, but the Bowie State University concert. Most people didn't even know that was online until I said something, right? You can still go look at it right now when Biggie was on there doing party and bullshit and Pac was at Bowie State, and this was 93. Go look up the YouTube video. These guys didn't know nothing about that. Like I said, once again, you have somebody in Gullible John Highland, who is not from the culture. You're not from the culture. Point blank, period. You would know nothing about anything that I've done or anybody that I even associate or roll with has done. Melly Mel is on damn near all of my albums. One of the dons of hip hop, one of the originators of hip hop. I don't need to claim to be next to Tupac. I done dealt with legends and had them on my material. Melly Mel and them are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're in the Smithsonian Institute. If I wanted to brag about something, I would go there. I wouldn't go just with Tupac. Like I said, once again, one of the things, as a matter of fact, let me give you this game because a lot of people did not know this. And the last interview that Tupac did with Rob Marriott, Tupac mentions the night that we were at the House of Blues. He mentions that. And then Melly Mel and them came down to the studio. That was the night that we were there, ladies and gentlemen, once again. And so, like I said, all of this trying to convince you of something about somebody that Gullible John never even met. He wasn't even around. He wasn't even thought of. He was riding BMX bikes and shit, riding skateboards and shit. You wasn't around us. You wasn't at Paradise 24. You wasn't at Bar 1. You wasn't at none of these places. The Roxy? None of those places. You wasn't hanging out. You wasn't doing none of those things. You see what I'm saying? Once again, he wasn't at the spot underneath of the Beverly Center. I can't think of the name of it. That we used to all go to. He ain't never been to what's the joint over there in Compton? Was it the Barbary Coast? You ain't never been. You wasn't hanging out. You wasn't doing none of those things. You wasn't at Peanuts. You was none of these places, right? So, like I said, in him exploiting Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., you gotta understand what the narrative they're trying to create and that he's trying to roll with, right? So you want me to copyright claim you, Gullible John? Nah, you ain't on the level, man. It don't matter. You not gonna get my channel knocked down. You just not gonna get it knocked down with these fake fraudulent copyright claims that you. And like I said, once again, I don't stoop down to levels, right? I stay on the level. You not on my level. Like I said, each and every day you sit there and you talk to Reggie and Reggie lies to you and you know it. You less than a man. To have a grown-ass man lie to you and somebody show you that he lied to you. What'd he tell Gullible John? Gullible John asked him, Reggie, so when was it that you knew about, how soon was it that you knew about what happened at the MGM Grand? Reggie lied to him and told him, it was about 2 or 3 days later, right? But then guess what? What did his father say at that meeting at the Seaside Police Department? What did he say? No. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. told his father within an hour. So back then, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was lying to John, and John now knows that. So John then plays get back with Reggie. Because when Gullible John filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, right? Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. went on Camp Capone and said what? I didn't know John filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. This is the guy that you chum it up with, lie with, and doing all of these internet videos with. He didn't tell you. He didn't tell Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. said he found out on the internet. So that tells me what kind of relationship they have. You lie to me and I'll lie to you, right? It's based on a lie. So now, today, once again, the reason why I'm making this video is they copyright claim this video. It exposes another lie. It exposes the lie that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. lied and said that Keep Me D pulled the gun out and Tupac told Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., shoot him, Reggie, shoot him, Reggie. When in fact, it never even happened. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a totally made up story. Other than the fact that them being at the Soul Train Music Awards, the other story was totally made up because C. Gutter, Biggie's homeboy, came out and admitted that he was the one that had the gun. Gene Deal came out and admitted the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. claimed to be there, claimed to be witnessing and experiencing all of these things that were going on. And it turned out to be a lie. And the cold part about it, he even went to Keep Me D's grand jury and told the same lie to them. That's why they want it down, because the video basically gives you all of the information in regards to the lie that Reggie told. We coming up close to that trial. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. wants to appear to be impeccable, a reformed citizen, when we know he's a failed drug dealer. He's been convicted of wire fraud, right? A failed police officer. He failed Tupac and Suge on September 7th, 1996, ladies and gentlemen, and they're failing to take my videos down. Because guess what? They admit nothing but the truth. And once again, look, you got to understand, for the people that don't really understand what the copyright law is and what it covers and how it covers. Look at this, man. From 3:05 to 3:33, that's approximately 29 seconds. They copyright my claim my video for 29 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. You can't win that fight. If I use 3 or 4 minutes of it, you could argue that. See, that's what the copyright allows you to understand, right? So I appreciate you, Gullible John, making that video today, because the people on your channel are going to do nothing but come look at my channel, get the real truth and the facts, and then they're going to subscribe to Stray Game because they tired of being lied to by you. They tired of being misled, bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray, run amok, right? By you and Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. I don't know why even, Reggie want to deal with you. You're an exploiter. You're an exploiter. Not only that, but check this out. Let me take you somewhere else. Remember, I told you, he called the police before they got to the Soul Train Music Awards, telling him that Suge and some of the homies is coming. This is an admission by Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., ladies and gentlemen. He was working, once again, he was sabotaging Suge and them, even trying to get into the Soul Train Music Awards. Suge and them not knowing this. They think they got a comrade in Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. They thinking they got somebody they can trust. But let me show you another move. And once again, so when we hear Keep Me D say this, look. So when we hear Keep Me D say this, listen, I need you to, because you're going to understand that it's a pattern of behavior, right? It's a pattern of behavior. So when you hear Keep Me D say this, the accused killer went on to accuse Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., an ex-Compton police officer, right? Right? And former head of security at Death Row, of being the mastermind. Reggie was masterminding, trying to mastermind the situation at the Soul Train Music Awards. He's calling ahead, telling them, hey, Suge them on their way, blah, blah, blah. Now, what else did he do? Who else did he do that to? Right? Being the mastermind behind the murder, labeling him and his security as mercenaries. Right? Who previously testified, because I'm telling you right about the grand jury thing. Right? Who previously testified in front of the grand jury that would charge Keep Me D with Tupac's murder. Hit back at the claims. Ladies and gentlemen, fell on deaf ears. But look, I want to give you this. I need you to understand, if he's doing that ahead of the Soul Train Music Awards and riding in the same car, it's like somebody doing some kind of illegal drug deal or something like that, right? And he in the car with him, and he texting the person, yeah, we in the car right now. We just made a left on La Cienega. We going down by Santa Monica Boulevard. You know what I mean? And he in the car with him. Once again, you're sabotaging your own. But And so they get to the spot, and he tells this elaborate ass story about the gun. And Tupac said, shoot him. Tupac, Gullible John said, that's what Tupac said. That's what Tupac said. Because, see, he wouldn't know no better. Tupac wouldn't say no shit like that. Shoot him, Reggie. Shoot him. He ain't telling Reggie to shoot nobody, man. Stop it. Tupac was a shooter. Shoot mean. If he felt like that and it was something like that, come on, man. Once again, at the end of the day, we're talking about somebody that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. been talking about that did not fuck with him. Tupac didn't mess with Reggie, y'all. Trust me, Suge even said it. Y'all heard Suge say it. Tupac didn't fuck with everybody. Y'all heard the video I put up where Suge said that. He didn't. He didn't. Now, let me give you this one. This is the second time that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is responsible for the same behavior. I'm going to show you a pattern here, because I talked about it before. But this one right here is even more egregious. It's the same type of situation, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, I just want to give you, a context. One, they're at the Soul Train Music Awards. He's in the car with them. This one, he's in the car with them, right? Or called and then got in the car with them, called the police before. Watch. But this one right here, check this one out, y'all. You think, man, this is like I said, you got some slimy dudes out here, man. Check it out. This one right here, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, we went over it before, but I got to go over it again. I need to show you the pattern of behavior, the lies that have been told, right? So listen, on 9/16/1996, this is the same year that lie was told about the Soul Train Music Awards, y'all. This is the same year. This guy is a pathological liar, as you see with the title that I gave the video that they're trying to take down. But listen to this. On 9/16/1996, y'all, 3 days after Tupac is dead, Suge Knight and them is in the studio. Let's set the stage. Suge Knight and them is in the studio, y'all. You see what it said. Watch officers Jeter and Yamamoto were working a crime suppression detail to address gang activity problems at Death Row Records, 18,730 Oxnard Street, Suite 211. Officers Jeter spoke with the head of security at Death Row Records, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., and was informed. He was informing. He was snitching. He was informing. They were informed by Mr. Wright that since the death of Tupac Shakur, listen, y'all, the very person that he took security off of, listen to this, the audacity, the unmitigated gall, right? The person that he took security off, he pulled what's his name? Michael Moore off of what's the name? He didn't send no more security when Suge Knight told him send 5 more security guards for Tupac, and he said that Reggie sent nobody, ladies and gentlemen. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., 3 days after Tupac's death, is now once again talking to the police, right? Informing them once again on his boss in relation to his homeboys being his security. And he also said what? Mr. Wright said that basically that since Tupac's death, Murray and Suge Knight was now using gangster bloods from Compton as his own personal bodyguards, and that they were armed, they had guns. Officer Jeter was familiar with Knight's personal vehicle, which was there at the time. Pause. I'm gonna pause right there. Hold on, check this out. He said, which was there at the time. So while Suge Knight and his folks, whoever he was with at that time, we don't know. While Suge Knight was in the studio, ladies and gentlemen, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was actually snitching on him to the police. 3 days after the death of Tupac Shakur. You need to sit down, digest that information. Once again, the Soul Train, it was the same thing. So what was really going on? What was Reggie the Rat really trying to do? Because at the end of the day, if he really wanted to be a comrade or somebody who was looking out for somebody, he would have went to Suge and say, hey, man, I don't think it's a good idea that you roll like that, X, Y, and Z. No. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. went to the police and basically told them, Suge got gang members with him and they got guns. What did that lead to, ladies and gentlemen? What did it lead to? Because this is the stuff that you can't make it up. So, what did it lead to? Right? Officer Jeter was familiar with Knight's personal vehicle, which was there at the time that Reggie was giving them information. Wow. With friends like that, man, you don't even need no enemies, man. Right? With friends like that, you know, the situation that happened between Tupac and Orlando, they didn't even need to be enemies because they had somebody working against them already from the inside. Who was working against Suge Knight and Tupac and them from the inside? It was Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. You see it right here. You heard him talk about it at the Soul Train Music Awards. But this right here, this is the enemy from within. Point blank, period. Right? What did it lead to? This convo led to an attempted felony traffic stop of Suge within hours. Right? Leave Death Row Records in the gang caravan fashion. Officer observed Suge Knight in the middle vehicle of the caravan. The officers attempted to stop Suge Knight's vehicle, but were interfered in making the stop by the rear vehicle, a green Humvee driven by none other than rapper MC Hammer. Subsequently, Hammer was questioned and released, warned only. Knight and the rest of the gang caravan eluded police, according to them. But I'm trying to give you a pattern of behavior. So now, you see it right here. Once again, right here. So when Keefe D says that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., an ex-Compton police officer, former head of security at Death Row Records, basically accused him of being the mastermind behind the murder, labeling him and his security company mercenaries. Ladies and gentlemen, where do you think that comes from? Keefe D may know something that we don't know. I'm giving you straight out facts, but I'm also telling you why, what? The reason for the video. Why they fraudulently copyright claim my video to get it taken down. Because the video actually reveals the truth. It's just that simple. And the truth of the matter is that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. lied. He lied in regards to the story of Tupac telling him allegedly to shoot Keefe D as he ran away. Because Keefe D was about to pull the gun. And it didn't happen. It was Biggie's homeboy. Because he got a cop to that. Gene Deal talked about that. Right? They were there. Right? Hold on. So we know that was a lie. But what was even more egregious about that is what? Is that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. would go where? Where would he go? Here it is right here. Look. What does the bottom part say? What does the bottom part say? Read it. It says what? Wright, who previously testified in front of the grand jury that would charge Keefe D with Tupac's murder, hit back at the claims. There's nothing to hit back at. Once again, he went to the grand jury and told the same story about that lie. Remember, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. also went and lied about Frank Alexander. He said that Frank never called him. He said, I was upset with Frank because Frank never called me. Called me on what? On the Nextel phones that couldn't do what he said that they could do at the time. That was what Reggie said about the Gotham statement. Remember, the Gotham statement came over the supposedly Nextel radio. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. the whole time was like, what Michael Moore was saying, the Nextel radios couldn't do at that time. He said it on the video. That was another video they tried to take down. Why all the lies, right? But you know what what was more egregious about that? Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. said that after the fight with Orlando, that Frank never called him and told him what happened, and that he was mad with Frank because of that. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., after lying for damn near 20-some-odd years, finally admitted in the grand jury. What did he admit? That the Nextel phones did have a walkie-talkie feature. It's actually in the transcript, y'all. Not only did he mention that, right? But Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. knew. He knew for a fact because Frank called him twice from a payphone from the MGM Grand that night when Tupac got shot. Early in the evening, when Tupac was over there gambling and Michael Moore was with him early in the evening, and after they got to the fight, Tupac and him caught the cab over. Tupac and Frank caught the cab to the fight. Pac told Frank to call Reggie. Reggie lied and tried to say, listen, Reggie lied and tried to say Pac called him earlier. He didn't call him earlier. Reggie's lying. From where? The Luxor hotel phone? Because if Pac called him earlier, what did he call him on if he's asking Frank to go call him from a payphone at the MGM Grand? What did Tupac call him on, ladies and gentlemen? The MGM house phone? No. He didn't talk to him at all. He lied. And he's trying to get ahead of those lies. Lie after lie. Frank Alexander, lie and say that Orlando tried to snatch Tupac's chain. It's just lie after lie, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? I've been exposing those lies. Here you go. Proof and fact. This is the reason why they try to take down the video. This is the reason why they try to take down the videos. But it's not going to happen. So like I said, once again, the question that Gullible John need to be asking himself is, you are gullible because Reggie lied to you the whole time. And for not near another dollar more, not near another video, you have been exposed. It's an uphill battle. Dude, listen to me. They even got caught actually having fake subscribers. Ladies and gentlemen. Fake views and fake views. You know, they running up the views. YouTube took away about 7 million views from them because they caught them. They was faking the views and everything, trying to make you think that more people was watching the video than actually were watching the video. So like I said, I just wanted to bring y'all this. And once again, yeah, you know, so all of the stuff that they try to say and try to put out, it's all lies, man. They've been exposed, ladies and gentlemen. They've been exposed today. Once again, your boy Delray, straight gang.
Life is like some cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
They said Tupac was untouchable, but behind the walls of Rikers Island, he was just a man, wounded, watching his back, and wondering who he could trust. He survived bullets, betrayal, and isolation behind bars. But what happened inside those walls has never been told until now. In the darkest corner of Rikers, he found betrayal and a brotherhood no one saw coming. These dudes smiled in my face, then flipped and tried to kill me, and I never saw it coming. They were Puff's security, Biggie's muscle, Henchman's people, and Tupac knew exactly who sent them. This is the side of Tupac Shakur the world never got to see, told by the man who lived it with him, not in the studio, but in a 6x9 cell. The rap battles, sex and drama with female guards, the tears, the silence after Jada Pinkett's visit, and the moment Tupac almost broke. Before Death Row, before All Eyes on Me, before Machiavelli, there was Rikers. Behind the Walls with Tupac Shakur, available now on Amazon. Get your copy. Learn the truth.